Welcome back to another Nintendo Fuse Game Chat. Today we're going to be talking about Construction Simulator 4 on Nintendo Switch. So the Construction Simulator has returned, and this time we're going to be in the Canadian landscape. As the game says, somewhere in Canada. Yep, somewhere. We're not sure where, but somewhere in Canada. You have this fictional map in a simulation format for the Nintendo Switch. The cool thing is they have a bunch of licensed partners, including Atlas, Bell, Bobcat, Case, Caterpillar, and Mack Trucks, and so many licensed brands of these construction equipment that's in the game. And you're able to drive around and dig holes with this big equipment and do some building and over 100 construction jobs, over 80 different vehicles from over 20 licensed partners. You get a multiplayer mode in this one for up to 2 players. Original map inspired by the Canadian landscape, as I said, and detailed cockpit views. But yeah, it's rough around the edges is probably the best thing I could say about this. Barry, how was your experience with Construction Simulator 4?
First thing I wanted to do was construct something because it's Construction Simulator.
Sure.
And I had to drive a truck. And I couldn't even drive a Ram truck. I was driving a MAN truck. So I'm driving around this Canadian Wonderlands, and all I want to do is say, all right, well, let me see how sturdy is my truck. My truck is very sturdy. There was no destruction at all. But then again, the trees were freaking made of iron because they don't move. In fact, I got hung up on street signs in my MAN truck. And I'm like, why? I should be knocking this over. So everything is indestructible in this game. Is literally indestructible. And so I'm driving around, spinning out because the controls are. I'm going through, and the storyline's going on, and you guys telling me, "Oh, go here, go here, go here." Okay. Spelling errors as well because I sent the screenshot. There's some errors in the dialogue. You couldn't get that right. So then I go back to my base, and magically a tornado happens that I don't hear or see, because that's just normal in Canada. Magical tornadoes happen. And I come out, and I'm just like, oh, well, that's fine, because everything here is indestructible. Then what does the tornado do? It knocks a branch or two out of a tree and knocks a few rocks down. That's the tornado that hit this. What? The buildings are fine. The trees are fine. Well, odds calls for a job for the MAN truck, let me tell you. So here I go, and I'm driving along, and I got to pick up a rock. Now, I don't really care at this point because the realism is gone. This is a simulator. I'm sorry. You can't say a tornado happens and have no damage but a few magical rocks that partially it just appeared and a few tree limbs. So now I have to use this crane arm. And that was terrible because it doesn't tell you. It says use the stick, and I'm using the stick, and I'm hitting a button, and I'm pushing up, and you got to hold it. You got to hold it. It doesn't tell you to hold it. It just says to push the right stick. I'm pushing the right stick. Nothing's happening. It's switching me between camera and control. So finally, I get the arm up, and I'm like, okay, now I'm starting to move it. Okay, this is weird, but okay. Now I got to magically pick it up and put it on my bed and hit all these buttons and change forms, and I'm like, where am I constructing anything? I'm now cleaning. I feel like I'm on Community Service Simulator. And then I got to pick up the wood, and the wood is just like, it's like they actually have physics in the wood. So getting it in the bed was a pain in the ass. And at this point, I'm just like, I don't care. And I decided to just try to drive off the cliff because I'm going to just drive off the edge of the map. I'm like, I don't care. That's it. I got my groundhog next to me. I'm done. We're going over. Can't do that because everything's indestructible. And I'm just like not having fun. This is just not what I expect. This is not where's the bulldozer? Get me in a bulldozer. I want to try and break down these houses because these things are magical. I need to know how these work because if we could build real houses like this, tornadoes wouldn't be an issue.
No.
We would solve so much. So yeah, I did zero construction in Construction Simulator. I did a lot of community service, and I did a lot of donuts in my MAN truck.
And you picked up a rock.
and I picked up rocks and sticks
I know.
on my community service.
Yeah, you just want to get in there and actually like operate stuff, because a few years ago I got to go to this. It was a fundraiser, and I got to go and actually operate some of the big machines, and it's really fun. I got to pick up a huge load of dirt and dig in the ground, and it was like, okay, like picture like your little kid in a sandbox, and you're like using that stuff, but just like gigantic, and it was fun. It was awesome. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna be able to do that in this game. Not so much. You maybe eventually get to do some of that, but in the game, yeah, at the beginning of the game, you're driving around, and they start off like with some really difficult challenges. I don't know, Barry, this may have thrown you off, but you had to drive forward for like 2 seconds and then stop, and then
you didn't have
drive
to park
backwards.
directly in the spot either.
No, as long as you somewhat hit it. And it gives you this fantastic fanfare that makes you feel like you just won the entire game. And then you
It
back
makes it
up.
feel like a mobile game. I'm sorry. It just feels
really
like
does.
that here we're gonna give you something to give you that dopamine so that you throw money at us.
Yeah, for sure. And then you go on this little pathway, and I hit the first two, just perfectly on it, and I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna take a page out of Barry's lawn mowing, and we're gonna see what I can do. And same thing as you. I found everything is so indestructible. But did you know that you can actually drive up some of those gravel piles and get over the edge and ramp over the top of it? So I actually was able to get over the fence and get on the other side. But then there's no way to get back. And so like I had to go driving up the other side, and I had to get back, and I eventually flipped the truck on its side, and I had no idea what to do. It was just sitting there on the side. I'm like, okay, whatever. And finally in the menu, there's a thing that says reset truck, but not on the screen. That is not one of the options. I had to go searching, and I was like, well, this is the end. And finally I was able to reset the truck. And at that point I was like, how far can I take this? And so I'm finding everything I can. And finally you're able to like drive down the road, and you can pick up some big time speed in this thing. It was in kilometers per hour, so I can't do the math in my head, but it was over 100, well over 100 kilometers per hour that I was going. And then I just decided, oh, that looks like some rows of trees that I might be able to like slalom through. So I go for it, and the truck flips up in the air and all this other around and lands on its wheels.
It's a cat truck. You had a cat truck. I had the man truck.
I have no idea how I landed on my wheels. I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, this is not a simulator at all. Like, none of this is real. I can't destroy anything. My truck somehow goes well over the speeds that it should be able to go down like rural roads, like winding rural roads. It's squealing the tires on dirt. I still don't get that. Like, and then it flips around like 2 or 3 times in the air and lands on its wheels. Like, yeah.
I was driving around at one point, and I saw this collectible up on this hill, and I was like, "There's collectibles in this game, encouragement."
Yep.
But I couldn't drive up the hill, and I'm like, "What's the point? You're teasing me with something that you can't let me get."
Get this one. So there's one in the parking lot right next to where you start, so you can drive right up to it, and then you drive through it, and you drive all around it, and you hit it. But you can't collect it. So I have no idea what
so
like. So I actually could get that one.
But I didn't even see that one, but I was trying to get the one up on the hill, and I could not. It was like in this mound, and I'm like, "You're teasing me. That's clearly a collectible. That's clearly something spinning there for me to collect." I've had years and years of gaming to know that's something you want me to collect. But this truck can't get it. Nope. Why?
Yep, it's a little coin. Which also, in terms of, construction simulation, I feel like that happens to construction workers all the time.
Oh yeah.
They see, spinning coins on hills that they can't get to. That's definitely a simulation.
I mean, it was to the point that I feel like I was promised something.
Yeah.
And they didn't give it to me.
Yeah.
It's like you told me you were giving me pizza and then you gave me Domino's. No, no, this is not what I ordered. This this is the polar opposite of what I ordered. And I wanted to disobey. Like they have dialogue. If you're gonna put dialogue, I want to hear negative dialogue. I want to be reprimanded. Oh, screw it. I'm gonna leave you nothing. Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
They don't care.
Yeah.
No cares.
No.
And I feel bad for all the companies that put their license on this, to be honest with you, because clearly Ram was not one of them. They were smart. I have more respect for Ram trucks and the Ram company right now more than anything else, because I'm sure they said, you're not using our name on this piece of garbage. Oh, and don't even get me started on the beautiful pan over shots that they decide to give you, because they give you these beautiful pan over shots of the area, which is really ambitious. Except the pop in is so bad, and the trees look worse than Nintendo 64 trees. Like, I swear, games on the N64 would run better and look better than this game on the Switch in 2024. The pop in is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Textures just loading left and right, and everything is static. And every tree in this is a two-dimensional flat sprite, just like it was in Mario 64. It was
Mm-hmm.
the same technique they used back then, they're using in this game. Wait a minute. That
Yeah.
is cheap as hell. The Switch can absolutely have 3D models. People gave Pokemon a lot of crap for their trees. Well, Construction Simulator 4 doesn't get the free pass here. Your trees are what? And I can't even destroy them. I can't even
Right.
destroy them.
Right. Right. Our apologies to the company of Man Trucks, though. We know that you're a real company, um, but it is interesting that that like they had so many licensed partners this time
Yeah.
around. Like they could convince these companies that, like, oh wow, we're gonna put your name in this game, and like it's really unfortunate because I feel like Mack Trucks, man, but also Caterpillar and Bobcat, like, man, I don't think they're getting represented the way they really should in this game.
No.
Um, yeah.
You know what? I think if they wanted to do what they should do, because I think the majority of people who will pick up this game, the majority want to, I don't know, do construction. And the people who maybe love the series, who have been part of the series, absolutely love the full simulator aspect of it, know exactly what they're getting. But I think they should put in a mode to at least let people play around with those other tools.
In actual
Maybe not
sandbox mode.
an actual sandbox mode, and then we can use Caterpillar stuff, and we could use Mack trucks, and we could use all these other things, and then we have some positivity, then we have
Absolutely.
some play. But when
Mm-hmm.
you set up the story that you have to go through, that you're not going to care about, and you build yourself as a simulation, and the realism goes out the window. And I mean, a lot of the stuff we're saying technically could be fixed, and like harping on the trees, it's a lot of fun, but really it should be better. But the fact that you have grammatical errors, you have zero realism in the way the truck handles, zero realism in the fact that everything's destructible, then you have the gall to say a tornado and not show any destruction outside of a few rocks and sticks. All realism is out the window. I'm no longer playing a simulator. I'm
Well,
playing a fever dream.
right. And on top of that, I rolled that truck multiple times and did a lot of things in it. I still made money in the end. They didn't find me at all. I could do whatever I wanted to that truck, run into however many trees I wanted to, and I still ended up getting paid in the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean that's just it. They, I understand that this is not for the arcade crowd. Fine, but what person says I want to mess around and do construction work, and then you're picking up sticks and rocks and driving a truck 2 feet in front of you? Who says I? That's exactly what I want. And if you're that person, I do apologize. This game is 100% for you. They made it for you. But I think the majority of people would want to construct stuff or even destroy things, because that's what you can do with these machines. Sandbox, have fun, play around. You have a bulldozer, use it to bulldoze things. See what you can do, stretch it, push it to the limits, get fined for it. If you're music, teach proper use of these machinery. Perfect. It's like, I don't know if there's a crane in this, but if there's a crane in this, could you imagine how pointless that would be? Because everything would be nothing. You would literally come in like a whimper ball or something. I don't know. It's just, this game to me was false advertisement because I wanted to see what I could do with construction, and I didn't. I literally did DPW work after the smallest windstorm in history is classified as a tornado.
I would have loved this game if it just opened up. I mean, you can have a story, do whatever, because you need to have that sort of
Yeah.
content. But I just want to dig holes and blow things up and wreck things and all that stuff. That's if I got behind like a digital form of this large equipment, that's what I want to do, because I can't do that in real life because I would get arrested. But if I could do this in a digital form, I would have fun with that. And that's not what we get here.
Even real life, if you were to, and there are places that do this where you got like a gravel pit or sand pit, it's a big open thing, especially with kids. The kids get to go into the machines and stuff. But you take teenagers, you take adults and go into the machine and say, have fun.
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do? You're going to bulldoze things. You're going to shovel things. You're going to dig. You're going to push yourself to the limit and see what you can do and how you can have fun. You can't do that in this game. Now, doing it in real life obviously costs money and you have to be a special area or you get arrested. Here, the idea of video games is you could do things you can't do in real life and you're perfectly fine because it's a video game. And you can't do it in a game called Construction Simulator.
Yeah.
And it's the fourth one. So did you not learn? Were the other ones that bad? I don't know.
I haven't played them. But you can get this one on the Nintendo Switch eShop, and I know there's a physical edition as well. But the eShop version, I think, I don't know what the cost of the physical edition is, but the eShop one is $34.99. So for $35, Barry, what do you think? Worth it?
No. Like, I want to say yes. Like, I really wish.
Yeah.
I went into this game with such high hopes. Like, I really was like, this is going to be a good experience because I've heard the simulator experience. And it's $35 physical, by the way. So it's the same price. And I was like, oh, you know what? This is going to be one of those games where we can have some fun. And the simulator, farming simulator, and like, there's a bunch of these. So like, they've got to have some money and all the licenses behind it. So there's got to be some quality here. And I feel like I got LJN'd. Like I feel like there's probably some enjoyment in this game, and it probably comes after you go through this story mode like Canadian Molasses, but you really have to get through that, and even then there's no guarantee of that pot of gold at the end of this turd rainbow, because in all honesty, the suspension of disbelief is gone. You've taken me out of it. I could believe sorcerers and wizards and Dungeons and Dragons and all that stuff because I love it. But if you're giving me a simulator, I expect at least some realism. And if you're not going to give me that realism, then give me arcade fun. But if you call it a simulator, I want to see realism. I want to see, like, that would have been interesting if it was a real tornado and things are down and now we have to get the bulldozer out because we've got to bulldoze down a building that's half down and we've got to dig up and we got to maybe look for survivors and look for make sure we don't hit the water line and the gas line and all. Cool. That's real life. That is a simulator. Instead, I'm doing charity work by picking up a stick. I could have gotten out of the truck and picked up the stick faster than I could have with this damn arm going like, super slow and getting it precise. I mean, it takes me out of it. I could have just called my buddy and said, look, just pick up the stick and throw it in the back of the truck and let's move on. And it would have been faster. Guaranteed.
Yeah.
Same with the rock, to be honest with you. It wasn't that big of a rock.
You could have kicked it other way. Although it's probably indestructible. So I think I'm with you. Like I expected so much more out of this game. I really did. And it's got a higher price tag than some other simulator games. And I thought, man, this is really going to do it this time. I was really excited to play this one. And yeah, for those expectations to be dashed right at the very beginning, was really unfortunate. So yeah, we can't recommend this game. Astragon, we're thankful that you guys were able to send us review codes for us to play and check it out. But yeah, unfortunately, especially for the fourth one in this series, kind of expected more out of this one. If you do enjoy this and you want to see more like this, you can be sure to subscribe to us here on YouTube and also check out all the other videos and stuff we have for our podcast, to our game chats, to our reviews, to industry talk, interviews, and so much more. But also be sure to check out NintendoFuse.com as well. Thanks for being here with us, and we'll catch you next time.